If you're looking for a new phone contract, you might be wondering how to ensure that you get the best deal and avoid wasting money. These days, there are so many different phone contracts and mobile networks to choose from that it can be quite overwhelming to find the right plan for your specific needs. In this video, we've explained what you need to consider when choosing the right phone contract in the UK. We've also explained how mobile contracts work, so that you can get a better idea of the differences between different providers' offers. Before we begin, if you're looking for a new phone contract, you can use greensmartphones.com to find the best deals. We compare thousands of different deals on a huge range of different handsets, allowing you to find the best prices on phone contracts on the market at the moment. Let's get started. If you've never bought a phone on a contract before, here's how they work. When you sign up for a phone contract, you'll be committing to paying a certain monthly cost for a certain length of time, normally 24 months, in return for a phone and a SIM card. Once the contract is over, you own the phone, but you'll continue paying the same amount. So it's normally a good idea to switch to a data-only SIM, unless you want to buy a new phone at this stage. Before buying a phone contract, you'll have to pass a credit check, because you'll be receiving a phone on the basis of a loan that you have to pay off. The benefit of phone contracts is you can get your hands on a brand new smartphone without having to pay a huge upfront cost. Rather than paying £1,000 or more for the latest flagship phone, you just need to commit to pay £50 per month or so for the next 24 months, and you also get a data plan included for this price. However, some phone contracts do still come with an upfront cost. The benefit of choosing these plans with an initial fee is it can help to lower the monthly costs over the life of the contract. On our comparison site, greensmartphones.com, you can easily filter deals by their upfront cost, depending on how much you're willing to pay. Simply use the upfront cost filter on the left-hand side of the screen, or you can sort deals by the lowest upfront cost. Now, let's explain what you need to consider when shopping for a phone contract. We've assumed that you've already found a phone that you like. Picking the right smartphone is a topic big enough for its own video. The first thing you need to do when buying a phone plan is decide how much data you need. In general, the amount of data you need is the single biggest thing that will affect how much you'll pay per month. If you want unlimited data, for example, you might find that this is quite expensive, depending on the phone that you're buying. For most people, a 20 to 30 GB monthly data limit will offer plenty of usage. This sort of allowance will give you plenty of data for web browsing, listening to Spotify, and watching YouTube videos. And if you work from home and don't use your phone much on the go, you might be able to get away with a 10 to 15 GB monthly data limit. On the other hand, if you like to watch a lot of TV shows and movies on the go, or you don't have Wi-Fi at home that you can connect to, you might like to have a 100 to 150 GB monthly data limit, or perhaps even higher. To get an idea of how much your data limit will affect the contract's monthly cost, navigate to the phone you're considering buying on greensmartphones.com and use the data limit sliders. By increasing the data limit sliders, you'll be able to see how much more it costs to get a plan with a higher data limit. As we touched on earlier, if you're willing to pay a bit of money up front, you can typically find a phone contract with a lower monthly cost. If you have £100 or so available, it can be worth spending this up front to lower your bills in the future. In saying this, it's worth doing the math and seeing if paying an upfront cost is really worth it. You might not necessarily be reducing your monthly cost by enough to make it worth paying a higher upfront cost. At Green Smartphones, we calculate the average monthly cost of each of the smartphone deals we compare, and you can sort contracts by those with the lowest average monthly cost. This gives you a better idea of the overall cost of the contract over its lifetime, whether or not you pay an upfront fee. The vast majority of pay monthly mobile contracts in the UK are 24 months long, although some are 36 months, especially for the latest flagship phones. A 24-month contract is a better choice most of the time. You might be able to get a lower monthly cost with a 36-month deal, but it'll be 3 years until you own the phone that you're paying for. If you need a 12-month contract, you'll most likely have to look at SIM-only deals. It's important to note, if you're on a 24 or 36-month contract and you want to change your phone after a year or so, it's normally quite straightforward to do this. Most mobile networks offer upgrade deals, where you can send back your current phone and get credit towards a new one. In the UK, we're lucky to have quite a good refurbished phone market. Refurbished phones, when purchased from a reputable company, are used devices that have been professionally inspected and repaired to make sure they still work well. These refurbished phones also normally come with a 1 to 2 year warranty, just like a brand new device. Often, refurbished phones are devices that have been handed in by people looking to upgrade to the latest phone. But if you're buying a refurbished model that's been out for a few years, it could be that the device has had quite a hard life before being repaired. Overall, refurbished phones are worth considering in our opinion, especially if you're looking for a phone that's been released in the last year or so. To see how much you could save by choosing a refurbished handset, you can use the tick box on greensmartphones.com to display these deals on our comparison site. Just remember, you should only ever buy refurbished phones from reputable sellers, such as Carphone Warehouse. You should never buy a refurbished handset off eBay, or from a seller we don't include deals from at Green Smartphones. There is no single best mobile network in the UK. You need to do an assessment and find the right network for your specific needs. It might be that you don't really mind which mobile network you use. In this case, you can just look for the carrier with the lowest prices or the most data. However, you should always check to make sure that you get good 4G and 5G signal with the mobile network you choose to use. On our comparison site, you can click more details under a given deal, and then click through to the network's coverage checker. Simply put in your postcode and see whether or not you'll get good mobile signal if you choose this network. You might also like to include or exclude certain mobile networks based on your previous experience with them. For example, if you know that a certain network has good signal at your address, you might like to stick with them. Or if you've experienced bad customer service with a certain provider, you might like to avoid them. Here are some other factors you might like to use to compare different mobile networks. How good are their roaming policies? Post-Brexit, many mobile networks have introduced fees to use your data overseas. O2 is an example of a network that currently has quite good roaming allowances. Does the network offer data-free access to any websites or apps? Voxy, for example, allows you to use some social media apps without this counting towards your data allowance. How good is their 5G coverage nationally? When out and about, you'll want to get good download speeds. 3 and EE are two networks that have quite good 5G coverage throughout the UK. If comparing smaller operators, which parent network do they use? Every mobile network in the UK uses the infrastructure of O2, Vodafone, 3 or EE. If you buy from a smaller company, it's important to check which one of these networks you'll be on to ensure you get good signal. Once you've got a good idea of how much data you need, how you'd like the contract to be structured, and which mobile networks you consider using, it's important to compare deals from all reputable sellers on the market. This is because it's not just the networks themselves that sell phone contracts. For example, if you really want a phone on the Vodafone network, it's not just Vodafone that sells these deals. There are smartphone resellers such as E2Save and Metrophone that offer phone contracts on the Vodafone network, as well as with other carriers. This is where our comparison site, greensmartphones.com, can be quite useful. You can see deals on the networks you would consider using, with the right amount of data, and you can sort by offers with the lowest price over the life of the contract. Make sure to use Green Smartphones when shopping for a phone contract, to ensure that you don't pay a penny more than you need to. And if you have any questions about choosing a smartphone plan, leave them in the comments below, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.